Okay, fantastic. So hello, thank you for attending the 2021 Redmond City Council Candidate Information Session. As mentioned in the email invitation for this session, we will be recording this meeting so that it can be posted on the City of Redmond website, as the meeting chat and emoji reactions will not appear in the recording. We have turned off these functions and we'll have started recording. I would like to extend a warm welcome to everyone joining us this afternoon. We have our City Council candidates, we have our department directors, we have our Chief Operating Officer, Melissa Files, and also our City Clerk, Cheryl Santos. I will be facilitating this information session today. This is an information-only session and is intended to provide a high-level overview of important information and help direct you to resources where you can learn more. All attendees should have received a meeting agenda as well as a resource sheet included with your Teams meeting calendar invite for this event. The information session today will cover the following: an overview of the City of Redmond, Redmond's form of government, being a council member, city organizational structure and departments, helpful resources and where to find more information, and where to direct questions. So first off, find my agenda. Melissa, are you leading off?
I am.
Why don't you go ahead while I find my agenda? Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Melissa Files. I'm the Chief Operating Officer of the City of Redmond, and I thought I would just share some fun facts about Redmond in case you don't know. So I'm just going to give an overview. Redmond was incorporated in 1912, so it is almost 110 years old. The city size is a little over 17 square miles. We have a population as of 2020 of 69,900 residents, so close to 70,000 residents. We have 10 neighborhoods, so downtown and Overlake being our urban areas, but we have Sammamish Valley, North Redmond, Education Hill, the Willows, Rose Hill neighborhood, Grass Lawn, Bear Creek, Marymore Village, and Viewpoint is our last neighborhood. So 10 neighborhoods. We have quite the park structure, as probably most of you know. We have 47 parks. We have 59 miles of public trails, of which 39 are owned and operated by the city. We have exciting progress in Redmond. As you have probably seen the construction, we're welcoming in 4 light rail stations, opening in two opening in 2023, the Overlake Village and Redmond Technology stations, as well as the Marymore Village and downtown Redmond stations. So those are in 2024. So that's just some fun facts about Redmond. And if you have any questions of other facts that you might want, they're all on the website, but I thought I would share those with you.
Great. Thank you so much, Melissa. The next thing on our agenda is our form of government and some other details. So Redmond is a strong mayor city council form of government. There are 7 council members and 1 strong mayor. The mayor is runs the city and the staff and makes decisions, and the council handles the budget, approves the budget and financing, and also approves laws and things like that go into our city code, because we are a non-charter code city governed by RCW 35A. Most cities in the state are non-charter code cities. Some are not in our area as well. So there's some different forms of government, like Seattle is a charter city form of government, as an example. Council members are responsible for policy level decisions. For example, you would approve things like this last week, the council approved the finance director. And so that level of decision, they approved the whole budget after discussion, as another example. The mayor, I oversee the administration of what is decided by the council, and the chief operating officer manages city operations. The directors themselves manage department level decisions within each of their departments. So council members, what council members do and don't do. So council members work as a body of 7 individuals that make decisions together. So something can be passed by a simple majority of 4 to 3 on most items. They do not make staffing decisions other than approving the directors and the COO. All of the staffing decisions fall to me and my staff. They meet on a weekly basis on Tuesdays, except for the 5th Tuesday. We try to not have those as meetings. They make sure that they, kind of at a high level, make sure to decide on policies of the city and how the city wants to go into the future. There's a lot more details about that, but we try to do a good job of separating what the mayor's job is from the council member's job. As far as being a council member itself, we have the council has a council rules of procedure document that can be found on the council page of the website, and that goes through all of the rules that guide you from a city level. There are also documents, and they're listed at the end of this, that would guide council members as from a state perspective as well. So the state has certain guidelines, and then the city can make decisions that cannot be can be more restrictive than the state, but cannot be less restrictive than the state. Council members are expected to be on time and be prepared and all of those things you would think of for a council member. We have meetings on Tuesdays. We have committee of the whole meetings that begin at 4:30 every Tuesday. If I can remember this correctly, on the first Tuesday of the month is Parks and Human Services. The second Tuesday of the month, I want to say planning and public works. I always get planning and public works and public safety mixed up. The third is public safety, and then the fourth Tuesday of the month is finance, administration, and communications. And so most things fit into one of those meetings. Sometimes things come to council in a different, it might be a parks issue, but we might need to get it onto your agenda, and so it might show up in a finance meeting. But those happen at 4:30 on Tuesdays, and then usually there's a bit of a break, and then our council meetings begin at 7 o'clock. The first and third Tuesdays are business meetings, and the second and fourth meeting are study sessions. In business meetings, votes are taken and decisions are made. In study sessions, it's time to learn more about a topic for future decisions. That's very broadly general about the meetings and the schedule. I would also say there's sometimes opportunities. Sometimes we have special meetings. Sometimes we have other kinds of meetings, but they're all noticed, and they are also part of your responsibility. Then there's obviously other things that you can do as a council member, and those are usually by your choice or something you've signed up for, like if you're going to be in a regional board or committee or one of the other opportunities to do things like that. Quorum and attendance. Quorum is at least 4 council members. You are expected to attend all meetings. The rules from the state are that you must attend all meetings. If you miss, let me get the wording correctly. If you miss 3 unexcused meetings in a row, then you can be removed from the council. Most council members, if they have an illness or a conflict, the other council members excuse them. So it's usually a pretty amicable relationship. But the biggest thing is to let the chair, the mayor, or the whoever's running the meeting know if you will not be attending, so that we know we can confirm quorum. You cannot have a meeting without quorum. We are governed by Robert's Rules of Order, which is a scintillating text that you can read. It's very long, or there are some condensed versions of it. Jurassic Parliament has a really good version of it that's much shorter. And if you are interested, and you can email me, and I can email the title to you. But that's a pretty good synopsis if you haven't been in these kinds of meetings before. Legal requirements for being a council member: they must follow the Open Public Meetings Act. The meetings must be in public. We have to notice them, and we have to assure there's quorum, and they have to be available for the public. Pre-COVID, had to have a public space open to people to attend and watch the meetings. With COVID, we have a phone line that people can listen. We also go above and beyond that, where we have council meetings are on Facebook Live and also recorded, and people can watch them later from the city's website. Public Records Act, what you do as a council member, if it's council business, is part of the Public Records Act. You must retain the records indefinitely, and they must be able to be searched for our staff to share with the public if there's a public records request. If you become a council member, we will give you a city phone, and you will also have a city email address, and you should only do city business on those, and you should never do city business on your personal property or with your personal email. And there are more thorough descriptions of that, but that's the general rule. And these are areas that you might have noticed in the news that especially in Seattle, they're having some challenges with that right now. But it is extremely important that you keep those things separate. Training is available through the Washington State Office of the Attorney General, and there is a required training that you have to do if you become elected, that you have to maintain. And the state does a very good job, and Association of Washington Cities as well, about training with all of more of these details. And they give you the legal reasons for all of this. So don't panic yet. But if you were to become a council member, the trainings will be required, and we'll give you all the information on that. Elected officials are also required to file annually with the Public Disclosure Commission. That is on one of the links is that in the information that you received and at the bottom of this, and most of you have done that as well. You also, not only when you run for office, do you need to file with the PDC, but also once you're an elected official, you have to file a form every year called an F1. Pay and benefits. The information is available on the city website, and the links which have been provided on your resource sheet. Council members are paid $1,554 per month. They also have the option to sign up for health insurance and retirement plans. The pay has been updated probably the last 4 years. We every once in a while bring in a salary commission of community members, and they evaluate what the council does and what the pay should be. Previous to that, I want to say it was $1,000 a month or $1,200. I can't remember now. And that's kind of a council members in a nutshell. I'm going to turn it over to Melissa.
Great, thank you, Mayor. I am going to go over some of the internal structure that we have. So the city has, I almost said 9 departments, not 19, of which are led by a department director, who all of our department directors are here today, except for a couple of vacancies that we have. So I will cover those departments. I've asked the department directors just to give you, obviously introduce themselves, tell you kind of the size of their department, and also what services they provide to the community. So we're just going to go down the list of departments. So the first department that we have is the executive department, and just to describe the executive department a little bit, we have 22 people in the executive office, which includes the mayor. We're kind of broken down in a contingent of communications, environmental sustainability, diversity, equity, and inclusion, the city clerk, and then legal. And our legal division has both an in-house prosecutor as well as we contract out with our city attorney. Some of the services that the executive department provides is we implement the strategic vision, we manage and coordinate the internal departments in the city. We are responsible for cross-departmental initiatives like environmental sustainability and diversity and equity and inclusion. We have policy development and advocacy, and also internal and external messaging through communications, both the mayor's communications and citywide communications. The city clerk, who is in the executive department, is kind of the city's historian, as well as council meeting management, public records request. So she has a big job, and also manages the hearing examiner contract when it comes to hearing examiner issues. So those are some of the services we provide in the executive office. And I'm going to flip to finance. So I used to be the finance director. The acting finance director couldn't be here, so I'm just going to cover finance for you as well. Finance is made up of 34 people. And it's a finance department that you would expect, some of the things that you would expect in a finance department. So they do accounts payable, so paying all of our vendors, accounts receivable, bringing money in. They also are responsible for purchasing, treasury, investments, cash management. There is financial planning in the finance department that does forecasting and budgeting. We also do utility billing. So if you ever had to call the city about your water, sewer, or stormwater bills, you would have gotten a utility billing person. And we also, of course, have accounting. There's a couple of things in the finance department that may be a little bit different than other cities. One is the finance department, or the finance director is the risk manager of the city. So we handle all of the liability insurance for the city. Also, the finance department handles all of the real estate. And so real estate being a big asset of the city, that is all handled through the finance department, the purchasing, the sale of property, as well as keeping track of all the right-of-way and easements and things like that. So that's the finance department in a nutshell. And I am going to turn it over to Chief Adrian Shepard, who's going to talk a little bit about the fire department.
Great. Well, good afternoon, Mayor Bernie, COO Files and candidate. I am Fire Chief Adrian Shepard. I've been with the City of Redmond for the past 6 months. The Redmond Fire Department is 170 members strong, approximately, and we operate out of 7 stations. Some of the services that we provide: fire suppression, fire prevention, emergency medical services, public education, and emergency management. We operate 24/7. We're an all-risk mitigation department, and we're available at any time for any calls. If you have any questions at any time, please feel free to call my office and schedule a time to meet with me. We're more than happy to answer any and all questions that you have of us.
Camera's doing funny things. Sorry about that. Oh, I think I just lost my internet connection, but hopefully you can hear me. I'm going to turn it over to, if I can find my sheet, Catherine Laird, who is our Human Resources Department.
Hi there. It's nice to be here talking to you about human resources. I'm Catherine Laird, the Human Resources Director, and I've been with the city now for 5.5 years and the Human Resources Director since September of 2019. Human Resources has 17 employees, and we are considered a full-service HR department. We do not directly support the community, but rather, being an internal support department, we support the departments on all of their personnel and staffing needs. Let's see. We are considered full service, like I said, and we support, provide support in payroll. We have the payroll department. We also have recruitment and selection, employee and labor relations, compensation, benefits and wellness, internal trainings, employee safety, workers' compensation, and payroll administration. Thank you.
Thanks, Catherine. Now I'm going to turn it over to the Parks and Recreation Director, Carrie Height.
Thank you. Excuse me. Thank you, Melissa, and good afternoon, Mayor and COO Files and our candidates. It's great to see everybody. I would like to, my name is Carrie Height. I'm the Parks and Recreation Director. I've been with the city for almost 2 years. It'll be 2 years in August. And the things that we do in the Parks Department, we have 70 employees, and Melissa already talked about the 47 parks. We also have 1,350 acres of land that we manage, and the 59 miles of trails that we also manage that Melissa talked about. We also oversee our facilities management. So we have 500,000 square feet of facilities within the city that we oversee. We plan for, we develop, we maintain, and we are working on a preventative maintenance program for all of the facilities. We have a park planning division where we look for opportunities to develop parks for all areas of the city, the geographical representation and very diverse array of parks. We are currently under construction at Westside Park. We just opened the pool. We're looking at RC3, and probably the largest project we're working on is the Redmond Senior and Community Center. I'm sure you've all heard about that. We also offer recreation services. So recreation, special events, and our customer service and engagement team. So customer service for the whole city and special events and recreation. These three areas probably had the most difficult impact from the pandemic, and we are just now ramping up and getting ready to bring a service level back to citizens as we reopen the city. And as Adrian said, I am very happy to be open to any emails or calls or questions. Please let me know if you have any other questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Carrie. Now I'm going to turn it over to Carol Hilland, who runs the planning department. I think planning and community and economic development department. I probably got that totally wrong, Carol. Sorry.
Thank you, Melissa. Thank you, Mayor. Welcome, candidates. It's a pleasure to start to get to know all of you. I am Carol Hilland. I'm the director of the Planning and Community Development Department. I've been with the city since March of 2019 and have been in the director role since January of 2020. I'm also a Redmond resident since 1989 and have held many volunteer roles prior to coming to the city of Redmond as a Redmond Planning Commissioner and as a community forum organizer. And I love this city. So thank you so much for your intention to volunteer for these really important positions. PCD has three primary lines of service that they provide to the community. The first is planning. That includes long-range planning, transportation planning, and engineering, which is a functional area that also is represented in our capital improvement program. We do code updates to the Redmond zoning code, and we also have economic development and tourism, as Melissa noted. So that's our planning function. Right now, some of the biggest projects in that area include the Redmond 2050 program that you've probably been seeing emails about, where we are in the process of updating our comprehensive plan, which we're required to do every 8 to 10 years. So that's a really big effort we're engaging the community in right now. Our second line of business is permitting, inspection, and code enforcement. We are responsible for land use entitlements like subdivisions, the buildings that are constructed in downtown, site development that occurs. We do development engineering, both transportation and utilities, building permits, inspection on both public and private projects. And then we have personnel that are responsible for enforcing our codes, both in the Redmond zoning code and some of our more our nuisance codes that are in the Redmond Municipal Code. Our third line of service is homelessness, housing, and human services. We do homelessness outreach. We have a homelessness outreach coordinator. We have one of our big projects in that area is housing choices, both housing as a mechanism to combat homelessness and housing across all of our affordability spectrums. We do human services funding, and we work with our partners to deliver affordable housing through a regional coalition for housing. We also manage as liaisons 6 different commissions. We have the Planning Commission, the Design Review Board, the Lodging Tax Advisory Committee, the Human Services Commission, Landmarks Commission, and Pedestrian Bike and Advisory Committee. So I'm happy that you're here, and thank you so much again for your commitment to the city of Redmond. And if I can be of any service, please let me know.
Thanks, Carol. Now we're going to turn to the police department with Chief Daryl Lowe.
Good afternoon, Mayor and COO and candidates. Welcome. My name is Daryl Lowe. I'm your police chief. I've been here for 21 months. The Redmond Police Department has approximately 130 employees. We are separated into 3 different divisions. Our operations division, which is your first response and field response personnel. Our administrative division, which includes things like recruitment, personnel, and training, and our support services division, which would be our records and our communications team. The city is divided into 4 geographic areas or 4 patrol beats, to which we deploy officers 24/7. Like my colleagues, if you have any questions or anything of me or about public safety in Redmond, please don't hesitate to reach out. Thank you.
Thanks, Chief. Now I'll turn it over to Dave Juarez, who is Director of our Public Works Department.
Good afternoon. I am Dave Juarez. I'm the Public Works Director, and I have been with the City of Redmond for almost 2 years. August 1 will be my completion of my second year. Well, the Public Works is responsible for planning, building, operating, and maintaining the city's infrastructure assets through which we provide essential services to our community, encompassing over 17 square miles. These include roadways, underground pipes, vaults, pump stations, and treatment facilities needed to provide clean drinking water, manage stormwater, and transport wastewater effectively. But we also run a diverse set of programs and services for our community that include managing the public right-of-way, providing environmental stewardship for our natural resources, maintaining traffic and pedestrian safety efforts, and managing solid waste, recycling, and garbage disposal. So we do respond 24/7 as well when needed. So if you do have any questions specific to Public Works and what services we provide, please feel free to reach out. Thank you.
Thanks, Dave. So last but not least is the Technology and Information Services Department, which I am the acting director at the moment because we have a vacancy. So Technology and Information Services is made up of 36 employees. Excuse me. And as you can imagine, Technology and Information Services takes care of just what it says, technology, and they are broken up into business solutions, which handles the software that the city runs on. So finance department software, everything that Public Works uses to keep control of our assets and things like that, our permitting system. We also have our infrastructure division, which is made up of the hardware people. So we have software people and hardware people. So they take care of our dispatch center. They take care of all the PCs that we use and all the networking that we do. We have our customer care division, and our customer care division is kind of what it sounds like. It is our help desk. So employees can call at any time to get help when they are struggling with technology. We have our GIS division. So GIS is Geographic Information Systems, and they do all the mapping that you see sometimes on our website. They help departments kind of map assets that we have in the city. So they are kind of our mapping people. Very important. We have our, it says I've been muted. Can you hear me?
Because you're on the puck.
Okay. Sorry, I just didn't want to be moving my lips and nothing coming out. So our security and compliance. People who, sort of keep the bad actors away from our technology. And so their job is extremely important. And then lastly, we have a project management office that handles all of the upgrades or re-implementation of our systems. And they handle all the project management for that. So with that, I'll turn it back over to the mayor.
Well, thank you, Melissa, again. As you can see, we are a full service city. We offer everything that our residents need to live and work in the city of Redmond. And as each of the directors noted, they are more than happy to answer any questions for you. If you want to email me, I can forward the information on to them, or I'm pretty certain their information is available on the website as well. So speaking of that, where to find information. So we have our city website. I'm sure you have looked at it quite a bit. It has all kinds of information about city code, city plans and policies, city budgets and projects. Probably of note for the council, looking at our comprehensive plan, which we're in the midst of redoing right now, and that information, as well as the city budget, is located on that as well. We also have the meeting information center that you can find on the council page. It has the meeting calendar, meeting materials, and you can look back on that. You can watch old council meetings. You can see the new agendas that come out for the current council meetings. And you can find other information on there about all of the meetings, and it has a pretty good search if you want to look for information. Also, I want to make sure that you know about some regional opportunities and regional information. So we have the Association of Washington Cities, of which we're a member. Most cities in the state of Washington participate in that. They have really good information about mayor and council handbook that has the class that you would attend if you were elected. But that information is available online. It is really well prepared and very easy to understand. So it's a good thing to kind of look through and see what the job entails. And they also have other information on there about state issues and the work that they do. You also can look at the King County election site. They, obviously is where you filed, but they have other information about elections and a little bit about holding office as well. We also have the MRSC, the Municipal Research and Services Center. It is a state agency that has a city code handbook, and it also has a lot of really good information, and the lawyers there give good legal information about what council members can and can't do, as well as some other information about how cities work. It's a really great resource, also very digestible and easy to understand. They've been, both AWC and MRSC have been invaluable in this time during COVID. They've been able to give us out a lot of information. And so I just highly respect both of those organizations. You also should know about the Public Disclosure Commission. It's where you would file your forms for election fundraising, as well as if you were to become a council member, information on the F1. And you can also look up other information about elections on there and the finances. And they're the agency that make sure people are following the rules with financial information. There's also a lot of other regional opportunities that you should be aware of should you get elected to office. We are part of what's called the Sound Cities Association. It's all of the cities outside of Seattle in King County. We're one organization. Currently, I am the vice president of it. Next year, I'll be the president. But one of the places that it's really quite helpful is it's an opportunity to get to know other local elected officials. They also give out fantastic information for jurisdictions. For example, on during COVID, it was a great resource for us to share information among our cities. They have opportunities for networking. In fact, they have a virtual networking event, and I'm not certain if they're opening up to candidates, but in the fall, when we have networking events, it's usually open to candidates as well. It's an opportunity to see kind of what Sound Cities is all about. They also do other meetings for people to get information about what's happening in the county. And they do appointments onto regional committees. For example, our council president right now is on the Affordable Housing Commission or committee. And that's a meeting, that's something that meets monthly. And she is a representative both from the city of Redmond and from Sound Cities Association for the county. And so it's an opportunity for Redmond to have a stronger voice in the region as well, as one example. But they have a lot of information on their website as well. All of these resources are included on the resource sheet that was included in the calendar invitation for today's meeting. Another organization that does affect us that's not listed on the sheet, I'm happy to share more with you, is PRSC, the Puget Sound Regional Council. It is the entity that helps manage the Growth Management Act. It is the organization that does all the research into populations and job centers and anything else under the sun with that in our region. It's a 4-county region: Kitsap, Pierce, King, and Snohomish. And the reason it's on my mind is because I had my meeting this morning with them. But they do things like transportation funding for our roads and things like that. So it's really also a very important organization. happy to share more if you want to ask. That, in a very quick nutshell, is the briefing for council candidates. There is obviously a lot more information. We just really try to give you the surface to just give you kind of the breadth of what we do as a city, who are the directors of the city, what the city does, and then also what are some opportunities for you to learn more and to kind of see how Redmond fits into the region as well. So with that, we're not going to have time today for people to ask questions because we just want to keep it as a briefing. If you have any follow-up questions, please direct them to me at mayor@redmond.gov. And all of our directors have mentioned that they're happy to answer direct questions as well. But if you don't have their email addresses, you can just send an email to me and I'll share it out with you. So this concludes the 2021 Redmond City Council candidate information session. I hope it's been useful and has provided you with helpful information and resources where you can learn more about the city and being a council member. And so thank you for your time. We didn't take a whole hour, but it's great. It's lovely out. So hopefully you can go out and enjoy the afternoon. And with that, thank you again. Thank you again for all of you for taking time. Thank you, directors. Thank you to our clerk and my administrative help, Monica, and to all of you and Melissa Files for joining us today. Thank you, candidates. Thank you for filing. Thank you for being willing to be part of this election system. So with that, have a great afternoon. Take care.
Thanks, Mayor.
Thanks so much. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Take care.